Hi, I'm Bob Schmidt with Home Remodel Workshop. Why is it, although we all pretty much basically start with the same framing material as one another, when the first guy's job's done, his wall's very straight, fits countertops and shelving nice, and the other guy using exactly the same material, his wall does this, looks like the surf's up. I'll show you a few simple tips to be like the first guy. Let's get to work. There's no such thing as a perfect board. Mother Nature made this board and basically it grew the way it grew. Now, as you can see, this board has a crown in it. This is what these guys are looking at when they're looking down the edge of the board. This board actually crowns this direction up. So to mark this crown, either make an arrow or a caret mark or a curve that shows which direction this crown is going. Here's a few different ways of marking a crown. You can mark it any way you want as long as you know which way the board is curving, and you always point toward the outside curve of the board. Now, on floor joists such as this, everyone knows that there are things that are going to be pulling down in the center of this floor joist. Gravity, furniture, the weight of the construction itself, and your big Uncle John that walks across the floor. Everything is going to be pressing down on this board, so everyone knows to put the crown up. But a common mistake that do-it-yourselfers make is they don't look at their wall studs and put any crown marks on their wall studs. And people will say, well, why do I have to put crown marks in the wall studs? I'll show you. Although every stud will have just a slightly different curve in it to the crown, you need to go through before you build any walls, and you need to look at every single stud. Mark every single crown. Now, when you place these studs into the wall, the crown marks should always point the same direction. Well, for one thing, the reason you do that is if you put a crown this way on the first stud and then you put a crown that way on the second stud, although the top and the bottom are going to be straight because you snapped lines across your framing members and snapped lines across your floor and you force that wall plate to be straight, at the top and the bottom it's going to line up. But in the center, it's going to wave like this, back and forth slightly. Now, you make those crowns opposite each other. If this is an 1/8 inch crown and this is a 1/4 inch crown, you make them opposite each other, all of a sudden you have a 3/8 of an inch wave in your wall in 32 inches. You don't want that to happen. Now, the question is which side should you put your crown to? If you're building an outside wall, whether it gets plywood or whether it's up in a basement and it's again against the foundation wall, you always put your crowns out so that the crown is facing toward the outside or facing toward the concrete. Why do you do this? It's simple. I consider it an active and an inactive side of the wall. You always place your crown facing the inactive side of the wall. Now obviously the outside, there's nothing happening out there. Toward the concrete, there's nothing happening out there. What could be happening on the inside? Cabinets, countertops, things along those lines. When you have a wall that has a curve in it like this, that is convex, and I know that's dramatic, can you see that? But when you put a cabinet on this wall, the closer you get to the top, the straighter this wall is going to be. So when you screw the top of this cabinet on up here, it's in a straighter area, and then it's very easy to take shims and shim the bottom away. Same thing with a base cabinet. When you put the base cabinet in, it'll be a little bit away at the top and tight at the bottom. It's easy to shim this in. Now, because these are all curved the same direction, when your countertop goes down it or your backsplash goes down it, you have a nice even flat surface that'll go down. Now, there's one situation where I would not put the crowns the same direction. I'll show you what that is. There are certain parts of wall framing that you would like to be as straight as possible. Alongside of doorways, obviously that door jamb is going to be cut nice and straight and you want it to fit nicely in the wall. Usually in these places where walls butt up to each other or where there's going to be a door jamb, you have more than one piece of framing going together like this. So what I always do is I take the crowns, I make them opposite each other like they are showing right here. I put them together like this. I nail the top, I nail the bottom. What that does is that leaves a little bit of extra here and a little bit of extra on this side. Then you take 16 penny nails and you drive them in at an angle, forcing them to be straight with each other so that the crowns are pulling against each other, hence straightening this 2x member, which makes it better for an outside corner so your corner bead's nice and straight, or for a door where you're going to have a door that's going to be hanging nice and straight down that opening. So that's it. It's a simple tip, but we all start with the same material. You might as well go ahead and get the best product out of it that you can. Now on that note, if you're going down through and you're crowning your 2x4s and you find one that looks like it could make a ski pole out of it, set that dude aside and use that for blocking to hold down plates or small little recesses in walls. Don't use that as a wall stud. Pick your standard. A typical curvature on an 8-foot stud is maybe anywhere between an 1/8 to the most a 1/4. Anything beyond that, you want to either set it aside and send it back to the lumber yard. A lot of times they'll take severely curved studs back, or use it in another part of your product where you need shorter studs where that curve won't make a difference. I'm Bob Schmidt with Home Remodel Workshop. Hope you appreciated this tip. If you like our videos, please subscribe. If this isn't interesting to you, check out our home channel. We have many other videos there. Thanks.